this Mexican restaurant that we like to go to. We sat down there, and our server was a Mexican woman who was born in Mexico, raised in Mexico, and doesn't speak Spanish.
What?
Like, not a word of it. Like, I sat down and I thought, oh, I'm gonna get my Spanish on, and I said stuff. And she, I don't speak Spanish.
Well, I feel like how long? Well, you probably don't know this, but like, I guess the question would be how long she lived in Mexico. But I don't assume you asked. But my grandparents,
so she was close to in high school.
Oh, okay, never mind. But like, my grandparents were born and raised in Nicaragua, and then when my aunt and my mom and stuff were growing up, they never like my grandparents would always speak Spanish to them, but they would never pick it up. So I mean, I guess I can understand in a way, but I guess everyone's different.
Did she grow up in a tourist area?
That I didn't ask. Yeah, see? I didn't ask that.
Because I understand no Sabo kids here, but no Sabo kids from your own motherland. What is happening?
Yeah, it didn't compute for me. I was hungry, so I didn't really like run but at the time in the back of my head, I was thinking, but while that was going on, she also was very like straightforward. It wasn't like she was, what's your order? She told us that at the beginning because of the Spanish thing. But after that, it was like, what's your order? Got the food. Here's your food. And it wasn't a lot of what I typically get at restaurants, especially Latin American restaurants, where it's like, you know how Olive Garden says when you're here, your family? At restaurants with Latin American people, like, we don't have to say it. You literally are family. Like, it left me, I didn't think it was bad service. It was weird. It wasn't what I was expecting. It wasn't bad, but it was just surprising. I guess surprising is the word.
You was getting Tex-Mex. Tex-Mex style service.
And I mean, do you guys ever get that kind of thing where you go to a place and the service is good, but it's like blank?
Well, listen, if you ask Sean, I don't go outside. So I'm the first person to ask about this. I will order everything. But especially when we're talking about Latino restaurants, I don't think I've ever gone to a Latino restaurant where a Latino did not speak Spanish. Like, all the waiters spoke Spanish. So that's just a different experience. Like, I've gone to Puerto Rican restaurants in Florida, New Jersey, and every time they all speak Spanish, and it just feels like La Familia all the time. So I don't know. I guess I get that, like, if I'm actually at Tex-Mex, but that's because it's Tex-Mex. That's for white people.
Yeah. But what about even the idea of just straightforward service as opposed to coming around and getting to, giving some charisma, that kind of thing?
I had that at Waffle House today. But I mean, personally, I just feel like less talking is cool with me, because I really just came here to eat for real. So if, like, you're just like, oh, do you need such and such? And we keep it short and simple. That's better for me.
Yeah, I guess also where a lot of performance comes out, because we are in our economy, or how our service field works, it's very tip oriented. So that's how they get their tips, is being personable, right? And the conversation gets them more tips because they're more likable, and that likability it pays money. So I guess it's that too.
Yeah, I mean, I tip anyway. I wish we were in a society where people just got what they needed. But I tip anyway because you did do a service. I don't even think that would reflect my tip. I think it just speaks to kind of culture and how our traditions shape us. Because, yeah, if I go to New York and I go to one of the restaurants I grew up going to, whether they remember me or not, they remember me. You know what I mean? Like, they give you that feeling of, primo, like you're part of us. So when I go to, and I'm so used to that when I go to other places, I kind of expect that filling out of what that relationship is, filling in the blanks of culture, filling in the blanks of the norms that I'm used to. That's why when I don't have it, I see it so fast.
I feel that. I guess also comes with expectations, because you're seeing a Latino, and especially, was this white Latino? White?
No.
Okay. And so when we see non-white people, especially brown and black folk, it just feels familiar automatically. It just feels like family automatically. And so that, I guess, also is that expectation, and the fact that also we just need to stop assuming those expectations of performance from people at the same time. That, like, you know what? I am a complete stranger to you, and you don't have to treat me like family. And I should probably stop expecting this performance from you just because you're brown and black, you know?
Yeah, that's also true. Seeing the exception to the rule shouldn't have the shock factor that it does. But at the same time, it does. And so that's a good, what I call, segue into this next episode of the End of a Species podcast. And hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Jeff from End of a Species, who, I mean, by now you should know. I'm here with my friends, Ari for Education and SocratesLastStudent. Introduce yourselves. Thanks for coming through.
Yeah. So hi guys, I'm Ari for Education. That is my on TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, Twitch. I am a womanist, feminist creator, intersectional, and my platform centers education. I am an educator, literacy, with a huge emphasis on education, literacy, and building relationships with reading. I also have a Discord where I run a book club.
W book clubs.
Once a month, by the way.
You have to remember because you failed your announcement last time.
Yeah, it's once a month, guys. We already had it this month, but don't worry, next month.
No, we did it. It's next week.
Ah, shit. Never mind. It's next week. That's not important. I'm Q. Most of y'all know me as Socrates. You've also probably seen me as Black Jesus. Some people assume that I'm the real white man from South Africa.
Why are you like this?
That doesn't matter. It's okay. But yeah, I'm usually just around a troll. And then sometimes I take debates very serious.
Sometimes.
But it's okay. I'm all about the liberation of Black people. And that's where we're getting towards.
He says sometimes, but he had a counter for how many consecutive wins he had in debates about the border. That is something that actually happened. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember what that counter topped off at.
You're ranged up to 300, right?
No, I think I was past that.
Ooh.
It was beyond 300.
Yeah, I think I was at 491 at one point. The last time I counted was at 491.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
But usually it was pretty quick concessions and people would just give up, so.
Because they don't know. People don't read. W reading. No one reads.
And they form misconceptions. They are hollow vessels in this world. Which brings us to today's topic and the title of the show, which is She's the Main Character. And the central thesis, and I want to tell you how I came up with this or how this hit me. I wrote a blog post a little bit ago about specifically Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed, but also some other games that they made, and how they can't seem to get it together with putting a woman as the main character without also either allowing the player to swap her out for a man or having her chaperoned. And that led me to start thinking about the typical archetype of a man main character and why it is that people do so much of what they do in video games, such as min-maxing with men versus women. And so I think that women, especially for story-driven games, but more broadly, women make better main characters in video games than men do. So just off the top, I know you guys have had the outline and you knew we were going to talk about this. Give me your initial thoughts on this.
W take, especially when we're talking about story driven, we're seeing like so many games are doing away with stories, especially as they're trying to focus those games towards men, right? Like look at Call of Duty series, right? Story is gone and out the window. What happened to all those main characters, right? They had the Black Ops story, Modern Warfare 2 story. Like those are gone. No one's even playing the campaigns anymore. They just want to pew, 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 and like just shoot them up and all that stuff. Like their plot is gone. And we're seeing a lot of those type of style games are doing away with plot because there is no character really anymore. No one's attached to the characters. Everyone just wants to fight and beat each other up.
I can agree with that. I play a lot of Call of Duty personally, and kind of after like, which one was it? Modern Warfare 2019. All of the story modes kind of just became like an open map kind of thing, and it was kind of pointless to play unless there was like something specific you wanted out of the story. So a lot of times it's just multiplayer games.
Yeah, everyone's just looking forward to
nowadays
multiplayer.
That's what sells the most.
I mean, there used to be features where if you beat the campaign, it would give you a little something in multiplayer, but I think even that's gone. I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time.
Don't.
Bunch of cheaters now, anyways. Everybody just cheats at the game.
I haven't played Call of Duty in such a long time. I literally just played the last Black Ops because of zombies, but that's it.
Yeah, it's unlikely that I'll jump back in. But I do want to talk about this hollow vessel thing. And so like the hollow vessel in video games started out as a feature. It was something so that the player can put their personality on the character and they could feel more immersed in the game. The most classic one is Link. The reason that Link is called Link is because he's your link to Hyrule. You're supposed to feel like you're in the game. But over time, I think that became something of, we're going to create these one-dimensional characters where the entire point of the character is, in order to drive the story, is them learning how to be a human. If you look at Kratos, a lot of especially his more recent story is him learning how to be human. The Last of Us, Joel, his story is learning how to be a human, I guess, again. But even in the beginning of that game, he showed some emotion, but he was still kind of like one note, kind of gruff, right? Arthur Morgan and really just in Red Dead, the Red Dead Redemption series as a whole, the characters that you play in that game are very like one note. I'm a cowboy. Now I got to learn how to be selfless or be whatever it is. And so the story becomes fill out the character as opposed to experience the story. And for me, that leads players into this thing where they're not worried about filling out the character. They're worried about collecting the strongest guns, leveling up harder, like min-maxing, that kind of thing. And it ruins for me, it ruins the experience because that's not the story. Right off of that, what do you think so far?
Completely agree. One, that also kind of ruined the most latest Assassin's Creed game for me. Because like the way I have to now try to get my experience up just to get to the next assassination is so annoying. It is extremely annoying. But no, I completely agree, especially when you talk about Joel and even in the next game with Ellie, who is femme presenting. However, they masculinize her, right? She's in a lesbian relationship and she's the more masculine presenting lesbian. And even when they try to, when they masculinize her, it's her also finding her humanity back. Right? She's lost it. She's a grown adult. She watched Joel die and get murdered and get his head bashed in. And now we're doing, again, another revenge arc that's very analogous to that of men. So it's still a femme presenting character, but it's still a masculine arc with just a femme face on it. And it's just this wash and repeat, even though you're trying to be more inclusive with your protagonists.
Interesting you should mention that, because look at how abruptly, how sharply the entire, a good portion of the gaming community reacted when they did humanize her at the end. Because you didn't get the Death Star explosion, people were like, what the hell is this? And the backlash was intense. It was nuts for something so, because as a story beat, it makes sense, and everything you play in that game is leading to that, where it's like everybody around Ellie doesn't want this for her. She's off on her own, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, so it's forecasting this ending. But then when you get that, it might actually be that because she was masculinized, the story didn't earn the right to give you that ending. But regardless, that was the right ending to have.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I have a couple of contentions with The Last of Us 2 in the writing of it. One, again, the masculinization of like femme presenting characters. Like, sure, you have femme presenting leads. Now we're in this lesbian dynamic, and her companion is now pregnant. And then in the end too, you get this kind of nuclear family dynamic of child, femme presenting femme who's doing the mothering, and mass presenting femme doing that. I'm forgetting the other. She was an MMA fighter essentially.
Abby.
And did you see the backlash with Abby's character as well? Because hers was also a revenge arc. It was two femmes hyper masculinized. One's an MMA fighter essentially, and she is on a revenge arc because of her father got murdered by Joel, and that gives us the whole antithesis. So everyone's just doing revenge, and a lot of people didn't like Abby either because she was muscular and all that stuff. So you have two femmes who are on mask arcs essentially, performing masculinity in its own way of how their stories are told, and people aren't pleased in two different ways. One, they didn't want the Death Star blow up, as you said, right? They wanted Ellie to kill Abby, but they didn't get that, right? They said, you know what, I'm not going to do this, and this is just going to repeat the cycle of harm, right? You killed Joel, right? And this is why I'm here, and I'm not going to do this to you. And Joel killed your dad, and it's just a cycle of killing. I'm going to end this. But also, and people had issue with that because they like that revenge arc. They like the accomplishment of a revenge arc, but also people were not happy with masculine women overall. So I just think overall people are going to be mad because femme people are there.
This isn't isolated, right? When I look at Kratos in the 2018 God of War, he had that moment where he goes, no, I'm not going to do this. And the game kind of shoves him into, no, you got to, what do you mean you're not going to kill this guy? You got to kill this guy. And then, of course, in Ragnarok, everybody that he decides, hey, I'm not going to kill this person, the story moves in and like, no, everybody got to die. You got to die. That's it. By the way, if you are going to write me an email and you think we should have put a spoiler alert on this, at this point, I'm going to put it in the description, but at this point, if you haven't played the game, it's been like the
These
game.
Are old games.
Yeah, the game is in kindergarten and/or third grade right now, learning cursive if they still teach that. It knows how to add and subtract. So I'm not worried about nobody. The point is, I'm not going to respond to any emails about spoiler alerts. Just letting you know.
Just go play the game, guys.
I mean, Last of Us has a freaking show at this point. Come on.
Yeah, because the game's been out since like PlayStation 3.
Yeah. Last of Us 1, they made like 400 versions of. I want to talk about what it is that we fill the void with. And I talked about min-maxing. And I think sometimes we confuse like min-maxing for customization. This happens a lot in games where you have a really robust character builder and the story's not going to say anything about the character, but you can design your character to have the hair color you want, the eye shape you want, the face shape you want. And then you can even customize what class they are, what weapons they use, how many skill points you assign. And we look at that as customization of a character when it's really just customization of a build. It's customization of a vehicle that you're using to make hit points go down and not really like a character. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the best game that actually lets you actually customize a character and you're not customizing the builds is Baldur's Gate. And Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year for many reasons. It was an amazing game. Replayability, it's one of my top tier games. And I am an Astarian girly. Sorry, not sorry about it. That's my toxic trait. But like how you can customize all those things, right? To the basically surface level is what you're talking about. Surface level customization does not affect the plot. But with Baldur's Gate, you are actually building who your character is. If they're a thief, if they're a knight, if they're, well, not knight, that's not what's called in D&D. I'm spacing on the terminology. But all those different things also affect how you get treated in the game, right? So like I've played as an elf and I've played as a drow, and like as a drow you get a totally different experience because basically drows experience racism in a different way. And so when you talk to characters as a drow, they're like, fuck you. And I'm like, oh wait, what? Because of the reputation drows have. And so that affects your gameplay. And so, but with these, it's just very surface level picking. Like you're not actually picking it does not have any effect on the trajectory of the game. It's just a mask to make you feel better.
On the opposite end, personally, I play a lot of 2K, probably like every day. So they like, recently they just put in a game mode where you can play like in the WNBA and like you can customize your like player and everything, but it's so different. Like if you were to play the regular My Career where you're like put as a man, you have like a whole story mode and everything, but when you play in the WNBA mode, it's literally just like you build your character and you play games. There's no story behind it, and it's kind of just like, you know, these are two different leagues that do the same thing, but you put more spotlight on the men and like their gameplay rather than like building a whole different story for the women.
And I would think that you could probably come out with a more robust story for the women, given the fact that it's a younger league, given the fact that there's so much around what the plays are. Like, people love watching NBA games. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of the things that are happening right now in the WNBA are the first time it happened.
Right.
And so you have a lot of chances to be the first person who did this because it's such a young league. And there's a lot you can build around that. And so not taking advantage of that seems like I don't know, it seems like something that they should take into account, because especially 2K loves their little flashy, like, you did this, like your achievement was this. Aside from achievements and trophies, just being able to show you the cutscene of the thing you did. They love doing that, and they'd have so many more places they can do that with the WNBA.
Right, but even like they have like a My Team mode. I don't know if it was this year or last year, but they just recently started putting women in like the in the My Team mode to play with. Because like, I don't mean to brag or nothing, but back in COVID 2020, I was actually one of the top ranked players in my team, and I got invited to the tournament that year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to play though, but it's all good. Yeah, like up until recently, like you couldn't even like use women players on my team, or even like if you play the Play Now online where you just like use regular teams, you can't even use the WNBA teams either. So it's kind of like I said, they're putting this giant spotlight on the men, but they don't do the same thing for women. And it even shows in like what we were talking about Call of Duty earlier. Like there's way more men characters than there are women characters. And at one point when you played ranked, you would get like a rank skin, and they would only be like men builds rather than women builds.
Listen, we don't even want to get into that conversation about Call of Duty builds, because listen, they finally put a Puerto Rican in it with the Modern Warfare 2 remake. I was like, and she's a Puerto Rican woman. I was like, Boricua.
Now, I haven't been following. Was there any backlash for that? Were there people like?
I didn't pay attention because all the men can suck my dick.
Fair.
Are we allowed to say that on the podcast?
You say, look, it's my podcast. We can say whatever we want.
Nah, I'm just joking. But I always forget what the name's called. Y'all ever played that samurai game? It was the
Ghost of Yotei?
Yeah. Wait, is that the first one or the second one?
The second one.
Yeah.
The first one's Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, Tsushima. Ghost of Yotei. Even her game, like the whole storyline is based off of getting revenge, like what Ari was talking about earlier. The whole storyline is based off like revenge from when they killed. I don't remember if it was her dad or somebody else.
It was her whole family, essentially, at least her parents.
Yeah, but like it was just like the whole game. What Ari was talking about, like revenge and stuff, like with The Last of Us. That's literally what the whole game was based off of, getting revenge, and they kind of like masculized her throughout the whole game.
Well, that's the pattern here, right? Like, sorry, I gotta turn the light on. that's the pattern here, right? They're doing femme characters to be like, we're woke guys, or we're being inclusive. We have femme characters, right? But then they assign masculine behaviors or masculine story arcs to these women, right? So yes, Ghost of Yotei. I would even say, we obviously Ellie. I would even Tomb Raider that's just a sex symbol. That's just it. Lara Croft is just a giant sex symbol. That's all she is. I'm sorry, I said it.
One thing I will say about Lara Croft is, in the same way that Bayonetta is supposed to be like the woman version of Dante, Lara Croft, you could say, is another version of, and she came out first, but like games like Nathan Drake, like Uncharted, right? Except that Lara has a deep lore behind her. She has this is her occupation. Where Nathan Drake falls into one of these archetypes, which is the charming thief guy who, like, the whole goal is to steal things, and that just leads you to the adventure. Where Lara Croft is trying to do her job, right, which is education, follow in her father's footsteps, which is, part of the character building. So I think with Tomb Raider, and especially like you said just now, Socrates, the remake Tomb Raider games, you get more of the story from the Lara Croft games than you do from other games that are similar. And I think in that case, it tends to lean toward why women in that role make better characters. In Ghost of Yotei, there's some parts of the game where if you compare it to Jin's entire arc in Ghost of Tsushima is fighting his urge to keep the tradition of the samurai. That's the thing, right? He was raised as that. That's what he's fighting duty. There are parts in Ghost of Yotei where you can see her forming these friendships with people, not begrudgingly, not like they're just another person that's doing a thing, but she's actually forming forming bonds. And so they have this additional, the pack of people that can come in and out of your journey, and you have stories with them, as opposed to just, hey, I went to that village and it's marked done, so I'm on to the next village type of thing. Where even some of the characters, like there's one moment in Ghost of Tsushima where one character dies who Jin feels responsible for, but it's the responsibility that makes him mad, not the bond. You know what I mean? Like he feels like he caused the death.
Way to throw shade at Assassin's Creed. Because that was straight shade at Assassin's Creed to mark it done. I think the storytelling component that you get out of femme-presenting characters is also indicative of just like one, patriarchy, right? Because women in society do build stronger relationships, right? They are taught to be more empathetic, more in touch with their emotions, and thus build bonds, right? And so I think overall what we're finding in these games is that they're just reflective of patriarchy, right? And the gender roles assigned, and how you can get better stories out of women because they connect better. We saw this, I know, Jeff, you talked about this. We saw this in Assassin's Creed with the twins, where...
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, where you got all story plot from, I believe her name was Evie, and because I started that game.
It was Jacob and Evie Fry, I think.
Yes. I started that game, never finished it. Literally just from, because I think I got halfway through. With Jacob, he's just a beat 'em up guy, right? And that's his fighting style, right? He does not stealth well, I believe was his fighting style. He doesn't do well for stealth. Evie does, and he was just brute force. We also saw this in Assassin's Creed when you had the most recent one, Assassin's Creed Shadows, when you had the main protagonist, who was also a woman. Her fighting style was mainly like, she was very stealthy. She could do the assassinations, where you had, I'm skipping on everyone's names today.
So in there, it's Naue and Yasuke.
Yes,
Yasuke was the man, like the black samurai guy. Yeah, the black guy.
Yeah, a black guy. Where he literally, they do a tutorial of him like barging through doors, and he just Hulk smashes everything, right? And so it's just brute force for everything. And a lot of the story plot that we have around them shows, again, is traditional ideals of, well, not even, I wouldn't say traditionals, because hers is also a revenge story. Shocker. They murdered her father, and now she's seeking to avenge her father's death, where Yasuke is over here trying to just figure out where he fits in most likely, which is also really analogous to how men navigate society, right? Because masculinity causes you to be isolated and hyper individual because you're competing with other men, and then a lot of them do try to find communities. Unfortunately, they find like red pill communities and end up like wanting to harm women.
I think those are good examples. Another big example is in The Witcher. There's this moment in Witcher 3 where you've been worried about Ciri this whole time. And then you switch to play as her. And Geralt he's another, like, there's parts to Geralt that are Shrek-ish, like he's got layers. But at the end of the day, if you see Geralt talking to Dandelion, and then when you switch to Ciri and she's talking to Dandelion, it's two different people. And you can tell she's more capable, low-key, than Geralt. Like, she can teleport. She's got some low-level magic she can do. She's really well, like, versed with the sword. She can hold her own. So, like, that's not a damsel in distress. This isn't somebody we need to go rescue. She's good. She's all right. So I don't know if many people notice this or if it hit them how ironic it is that we're chasing down this person who's probably more likely to rescue us than we are to rescue her.
Yeah, I think it goes to what you were talking about earlier too, that automatically people assume that women can't save themselves, right? And this is why you always see a pairing of two, right? You have Evie and Jacob, right? They have to have a man option, or they have to masculinize the femme protagonist to make her do masculine behaviors or masculine displays of masculinity, whatever, because obviously she can't just be a woman and save herself, right? So I think it speaks to that. One storyline that I really like that just kept it feminine in her experience, and it did get a lot of backlash, but I don't give a fuck because it was just so good, was Silent Hill F with Hinako I'm going to say this wrong. I'm so sorry. Shimizu?
Don't send me no emails. If she got it wrong, don't send it. I'm not even going to read them.
But Hinako, it purely was a commentary on patriarchy. And one, I just overall love the Silent Hill series because I love games that I have to look shit up, right, to understand the deeper meaning, right? I love those type of psychological games, and that's all the Silent Hill games, right? And if you look at the men protagonists prior to Hinako and their experiences, one was he murdered his fucking wife, right? And he was gripping with the fact that he murdered his wife. He smothered her with a fucking pillow, and it was him coming to terms with that. And like these grave atrocities that these men did, where Hinako's was very different in that it was her experiencing and coming to and recognizing her experience within a patriarchal society. She was forced into an arranged marriage. And does she actually want to adhere to these strict gender norms that she's being placed to in society? And the commentary that I've seen the internet have on that game went right through people's head. Like the fact, like men were upset they couldn't see up her skirt. Not shocking, but there was a reason for that, right? And there was a reason why in the game, one of the enemies is a scarecrow type of thing where it is short skirts, right? And their bodies are a little bit more exposed, and there's a reason for that and why they move the way they move. And it just went over everyone's head. And I love the commentary on patriarchy in that game. And it was an authentic coming to realization of what does she want and what role does she want to play within society and the roles that were given to her.
Now, personally, I've never actually played Silent Hill, any of them. But I did see the backlash that Ari is referring to on the game. And majority of the backlash is only coming from men. They're like, you'll see no women talk any bad about the game. It's just a bunch of men mad that there isn't more exposure within the game. Because a lot of times when you do see like women in games, like GTA prime example, whenever you see a woman in the game, they're like presented as like
they want titties. Just say it. Just say it. They want titties.
They just want to like see them naked, and I think it's weird because like, why are you going to play GTA to go to the strip club? Like, what are we doing here?
I've always thought that the video games as a whole are a medium that you can tell such cool stories in, and there's a small sliver of the gaming community that gets it, that does the analysis, that reads it and says, "Hey, I just experienced this," and then they play it a second time and they catch the things. But the overwhelming majority is just doing the look at my stats. I reached level 99. Aren't I cool? Look, I just added a mod and I'm now the Hulk in GT. Like, Forget the story, forget the broader implications, forget all of that. I just want to see things blow up. And that's cool, but I think of video games as so much more than that. If all you're doing is maximizing the stats, how is it that I think you're missing out on a deeper connection to things like the symbols of a game, or like collector's editions, or things like that, where you look at something and you're like, hey, this represents this moment in the game, as opposed to look how quickly I beat this boss. Now, that's not a shade at speedrunning. I think speedrunning is dope. And a lot of people in the speedrunning community are part of that sliver. Like, you ask them about the plot of the game that they're speedrunning, and they'll tell you. They understand it. I'm talking about more the broader landscape of people who pick up a game, play it, and dispose of it as soon as they hit max level, and don't care anything about plot points or whether they have something to learn from this game or anything like that. They're just like bull in a china shopping through this.
Yeah, I think one of the series that's having a reckoning with this is the Resident Evil series, because they hit a precipice and got a lot of backlash from Resident Evil 5, to the point where in Resident Evil Village, they made a joke about that, because in Resident Evil 5, Chris Redfield just punches a fucking rock. He just like sucker punches a rock, and it goes into a volcano, and they kill Albert Wesker. And they received such a backlash for that. It wasn't really a backlash. It was just more people cracking jokes about it. Like, this is this ultimate display of masculinity, that you have this dude just punching a fucking rock, who's supposed to be regular human like me and you. Like, he's not supposed to be like superhuman. And I don't know a single man like, Hugh, are you gonna punch your fucking boulder today and it moved? Like, no,
I don't think so.
Right. These are supposed to be regular people in a zombie apocalypse, and he punches a fucking boulder, right? And they had to come make a reckoning of this in Resident Evil Village, where one of the main villains, he's like, you boulder punching bitch, or something like that. Because it's just, that's what it was. It's just, now we're just doing ultimate displays of me, man, strong, and I'm maxing out my characters and all that stuff, that like plots and the humanity and like the actual experience of the game is lost. So, well, I know, and they're still kind of reckoning with that with Leon's character in the most recent re-release, or the recent game that they just had to come out, Resident Evil Requiem. Because I follow the whole Resident Evil series game. At this point, I'm not a quitter, even though the games have been like losing me. I'm not a quitter. We've been here for the long run. I'm gonna finish it out. But Resident Evil Requiem, same thing. It's Leon coming to terms with the original game of Raccoon City, and that he feels this emotional distress that he's lived through it. But he's also doing this showboaty masculine thing. Like, every time he kills a zombie, he has to do like a freaking backflip. And so they're trying to figure out the story. I did not enjoy the story of Requiem. I just thought it was them trying to play on nostalgia, but also do this whole thing with Leon's character, which they keep doing, which is he just suffering from depression in the past couple games. Like, you have enough money, go to therapy at this point. I don't know what to tell you.
I will say, and as an aside, I played Resident Evil 5, and my contention was not, like, I didn't play through the whole game. I couldn't. I know about the boulder, but that wasn't my contention. This past February, I told all of my followers to go on Twitch, and if they saw anybody playing Resident Evil 5, like, just write in their chat, like, really? During Black History Month?
During Black History.
Really?
Yep.
I played that game, and I'm like, wait, time out. What are we doing now? We're in West Africa, so this white dude just goes to, and we're just shooting black people? That's what we're doing?
Shooting black people?
The way I drove my ass back to GameStop and said, no, I think you want this back. This game is not for me. I'm not participating in whatever y'all got going on.
Not even just that. Biological warfare on black people.
Yeah.
In South Africa.
Look, I'll play Leisure Suit Larry before I play this game. There's no way that's happening. And this is me, like, criticizing the patriarchal nature of games, but they's like, come on, in West Africa, you just send a white dude to go exterminate some black people. That's crazy. That's cuckoo clock.
They try to make it better the next game. Resident Evil 6 took place in Asia.
Yeah.
So now, like, y'all, we're not just killing black people. Now we're killing Chinese people.
I'm good off that. with that, I do want to move into the next segment of this, which is our top 5 for this episode, which is the top 5 women protagonists in gaming. You guys might disagree. The people at home might disagree. I don't particularly care. I made the list and I'm sticking by it, 10 toes down. Number 5, I'm going to say Ciri. And originally I was going to say Ciri from The Witcher 3. But no, I'm going to say Ciri from The Witcher 4 because she's the main character in that game. And God, I hope they don't like make her a side character in her own game. I hope they don't give her like chaperone stuff. I hope we're playing as Ciri for the whole game. That's my hope. Number 4 is going to be Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. She's a great character because of the fact that she's trying to tell everybody what's going on. Nobody will listen, so she just goes and changes the light bulb herself. So I think that's like feminism in a nutshell, is like, y'all keep trying to tell us something's broken and we don't listen. So y'all just go, all right, fine. It's like that Thanos thing. I'll do it myself. Number 3, Ellie, Last of Us Part 2. I know we gave her some shit, but the ending for me and the fact that she's a character who has an attribute and that attribute is not the story, right? Her interaction with the environment is the story. And I appreciate that a lot. Number 2 is one that really messed me up, and that's Senua from both Hellblade games. Senua is a character that suffers from, I don't know if it's schizophrenia. I don't know if it's some sort of psychosis, but you experience that psychosis with her throughout the entire gameplay. And so you get to understand what she's thinking and why she's thinking it. And she's a multi-dimensional character. Like the way that she interacts with her journey is very unique. And number 1, just out of nostalgia, even though character-wise, some people may not agree, but this is the OG, and that's Samus Aran, because that's the very first woman main character. Like Samus was so dope that people were playing Metroid and didn't realize they were playing as a woman the whole time. For ages, there are people who just figured it out when Smash came out. Like when Smash Brothers came out, they were like, wait, Samus is a girl? Nah, she's a whole woman. She's dope and she kills aliens for fun. So I'm going to open it up. What y'all think of the list? If you guys have your own list or if you want to add to it, remove it, critique it, go for it.
Personally, I think Yotei should be on the list. That's what it is, right? Goes to Yotei? Yotei. Yeah, I think she should be on the list. If you played the game, you would understand. The game is great. I feel like as much as the storyline is about her getting revenge for her family, the way that she goes through like the map and you get to bond with people and you get to like live flashbacks of like when she was younger and building the bond with her parents and building the bond with her brother. I think they do a really good job of like making her the main character throughout the whole game.
I got issue with Ellie.
I was about to say I also have an issue with Ellie, but I mean I can understand because without her there really is no The Last of Us. So I mean it makes sense, but they really fucked up when they was making her in the video game.
Well, all right. Well, Samus, I think when people play Samus in Super Smash, I swear they like Samus because of titties. That's just me. I'm being honest. I'm just giving my honest output. I think a lot of people I'm saying and I'm mainly thinking like in terms of patriarchy, right? I think people mainly in recognizing that most of the people who play games are men. A lot of people, the people who typically like Lara Croft, I just think they like her because they think she's hot. She's a sex symbol and things like that. So like those are always my contention of the character. Like, what color is her eyes? Quickly. Or were you staring at titties the whole time? Well, Samus and Lara Croft. I'm like, what color are her eyes? And
I think Lara Croft's eyes are like brown, but in the new game they're like hazelish.
Well, the remakes, yeah. Oh no, they're doing a reboot of her.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about Samus. I'm also figuring out that you were asking that question rhetorically, so I'm gonna go lean back in my chair.
But at least Jeff tries to pay attention. Snaps and claps for Jeff, right? But like a lot of those gamers, you can't tell me what their eye color is. What's their eye color, right? What color were their pants? And you're cheating Samus because Samus's whole suit is blue. But like they don't pay attention to that. And you probably can't even tell me the whole story plot of Lara Croft. You just wanted to play as a woman and watch her titties bounce or something like that. And so I always have contention with those type of things. And this is why I like absolutely loved Resident Evil F. I also have issue with Ellie. I just more always have issue with it. Like, I think she's a great character. I just hate that everything comes from, and it has to be because of the main, well, it doesn't have to be, but like because of the society we live in, everything's in terms of a male gaze. Right? So I'm going to either hypersexualize these women characters and give them titties that you can see their cleavage, or I'm going to masculinize this woman so that you can better connect with her as a man and make her do masculine things, right? A lot of the women characters that men like are the ones who are on revenge arcs. They're out here trying to avenge a lost parent, friend, whatever, and things like that, which is why I liked I was so excited when F came out. Like, I was on it. I was in there like somewhere because Hinako, and this is probably also just my femme perspective, Hinako's was real to me. It was authentic. This is a coming of age story. She's being put in an arranged marriage, and she's navigating the reality of what that marriage means to her and the society she lives in, also navigating how people view her in society, right? And that each monster represents a view of that. But also in that game, you're seeing different pathways that she has to take, right? The first pathway you have to take, you're kind of forced to take it in the game, is that she has to go through it and basically adhere to her gender role, right? And then once you do that, you're allowed free roam to go do the rest of the other outcomes. For me, that coming of age that was not masculinized is a genuine woman experience. I think that can't be negated or taken away from her, right? Everyone else is masculinized in some way, shape, or form, but hers is a genuine experience of womanhood.
I want to go further and look at other games that are femme and LGBTQ coded. Like, for example, one that stands out is Hades. Hades was a game that surprised the heck out of me because I don't typically like roguelites. They're not my cup of tea. But in that game, first off, there was a ton of story. And have you guys played that game?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I've seen it, and I've heard commentary on it, but I've never played it myself.
I think I'm going to bring it back into the stream and just start it over, because Hades 2 just dropped for PS5 also. And that one even goes like beyond where with the character development. But in Hades 1, there's a character named Dusa, which is a Gorgon, and she's just a floating head. And tell me how transcoded this is. When you ask her why she's a floating head, this is the afterlife, mind you, you're in Hades. She goes that she's always just been more comfortable this way, so this is how she
W. I love it.
That's like, to put something like that, I know a lot of people that played this game, that statement went over their head. But for people from the community, I can guarantee you that if you're part of any one of the communities that are affected by this stuff like that speaks to you. The ability to have that in a game, to me, is super dope, because if you're looking for it, you get to get a little better understanding. The people that you like, that you share the world with, that you interact with. What was the other game that I had besides Hades?
I also like that because it's not as straightforward. Like, hey, I'm hitting a check mark for being inclusive with LGBTQ plus IA people. It looks different and it fits the aesthetic of the game, and it doesn't feel performative. It just felt something like natural to the game experience.
Of course, the other one is Life is Strange. That whole series, you're not making one-dimensional characters. There are a lot of people who are like, there's a lot of coming of age stuff in the game, but it is people that are struggling through what like normal everyday interactions with other people are, but as they are also allowed to be their identity fully. And while Life is Strange is a little less like button mash arcade and more walking simulator, not fully, but it has those elements. The stories to me are very compelling. They have a lot of depth in how your decision affects the world, how it affects endings, the different ways that you can look at relationships within that game or just within the series as a whole. I think games like that, you walk away with more than you would just, hey, I got the timing for this combo right.
Yeah, with games like that, they remind me of like Telltale games. And so I don't know if this character counts because she's essentially a child. Can we consider Clementine?
Yeah. By the end of Walking Dead, Clementine is, late teens, I guess, right?
Yeah, I was like, because she's still a child, so like she's not a woman, but she's coming up. Like we're watching her coming of age. We start the Walking Dead series where she's literally a child, and we're watching her journey as she becomes an older teenager, and that's where they kind of end the series. But I thought watching her grow up was really good. And all the Telltale, I'm a fan of the Telltale games. I like that, again, it's one of those games where your choices affect the series, whether you kill someone or you don't. And it brings to that human experience. And so we're walking through this game with this young little girl and her experiencing a zombie apocalypse.
I think one of the great things about Clementine is that for the most part, she gets to retain her humanity. She doesn't become too jaded with her surroundings. So she does get to experience a character arc that's not just, I want to kill things.
I think at some point she did struggle with that, but I think that was just natural to her experience. And also she's coming of age. We're watching her coming of age. Teenage hormones. She's in a zombie apocalypse, and she is navigating learning to trust people, build relationships. And so, yeah, I think it was like, we did not see a revenge arc for Clementine like that. I don't think we can truly say that it was a revenge arc. It was just more survival. She's just trying to exist and be a child and then be a teenager. The only thing I would put, like, I did not like about it is that you see with most femme presenting arcs that they're either assigned a companion or they're assigned a child at some point to take care of. We saw this with Jill Valentine. No, not Jill Valentine. Chris Redfield's sister. I'm spacing on her name. Chris Redfield's sister in Resident Evil Raccoon City was assigned a child. Clementine was assigned a child at the end. Like, there always is assignment of a child in femme presenting people to be the caretakers. But I think Clementine's story was a great story. I don't think I saw too much pushback on Clementine either. Like, she was well received.
Yeah. And I think that's because you can't really cuss out a little kid. So people got to see her grow. And so therefore, that's Clementine, the girl with the hat. I did want to ask y'all a question. Like, what do you think a male protagonist would look like if they were just a full person?
That's a great question, honestly. I don't know. That's honestly a good question. Because, like, most of the time when you see, like, male protagonists, they just have, like, this one dimension to them. And it's just, like, this one thing to get through the story. They never really evolve or do anything else throughout stories.
I think it would tell too much. I don't think the manosphere would like it. Right? If we're talking about gender and how it's constructed currently and the experiences of boys and men, right? It would give too much away of the trade secrets. Right. But I mean, we can see, like, there isn't too much whole storytelling that's done in video games, but we can look at a series like Adolescence that's on Netflix, right? Where it did give real life authentic experiences of growing up and being a young man. And then you see it reflected in his father. And it told too much, right? It told the battling of insecurities, right? Because what we see a lot happening in games is either one, he's on a revenge arc, or two, he finds out he was the bad guy all the time. I saw a really good commentary on this on TikTok about men horror stories or men horror movies, that typically when men are the main villain or the main character in a movie, it's that he found out he was the bad guy the whole time, or he was the villain. And that's what we see a lot of times, is when men actually had arcs, and, like, instead of revenge stories, their character was built on them finding humanity themselves. They find out that they were the villain. They were producing the harm, and they can't tell the trade secrets of patriarchy. So I think that's why they can't do it, because then you have to look the ugly in the mirror, and it would not feed well to a lot of their fan base, their audience.
Currently, if I look at the landscape, if a character that's a man or male is allowed to be a full human or a full person, they are either going to be a robot or they're going to be heavily LGBTQ coded. They're not going to be allowed to partake in masculinity while being a full character. I want to focus on y'all giving out your socials. I know you touched on that, Ari, at the beginning. I want everybody to follow Ari, follow Socrates. Tell us about what you got going on, and where can we support you?
I'm only on TikTok right now. So if you want to support me, just follow me on TikTok. It's SocratesLastStudent. If you find my backup page, it changes from time to time. So I'm not going to say what it is right now, because there's allegations that are roaming around the TikTok streets about some white African man. But, you know, outside of that, make sure y'all go to Ari's Discord and join Book Club. It's next week, once a month, by the way.
Take a nap, dude. I cannot with you, bro.
I'm trying to help you out, bro. Once a month, Ari's Discord. And, we're doing it next week, and then we'll probably do one in May.
When I tell you Q learns on the...
Next week is May, right?
Oh my
yes.
That doesn't matter. Oh yeah. Next week is May, and so the first week of May we're gonna do a Discord. It's book club.
When I tell you Q learns on the job as he's saying stuff, he learns on the job, and he just
That's
says
so
stuff
true.
ways to be corrected.
If y'all ever watch me and Ari's live, just debating, a lot of times I'll be debating, and then Ari will say something, and then I'll just figure it out as I go.
The worst is when he put me on. We gotta give the cue, the stuff. The worst is when he put me on the spot because he didn't have a source or didn't want to pull up his source for the Black maternal mortality rate, and then he blames me for it. But anyway, I'm Ari for Education. I said it earlier. My socials are the same on TikTok, Blue Sky, Twitch, and YouTube. I don't really have anything up on Twitch or YouTube right now. I'm still trying to figure out my setup for that, but I will be doing stuff soon, hopefully. But I do post a lot on Blue Sky and on TikTok, so you can see me there. I go live every single weekday around 7 CST, 8 CST around those times, and every Saturday morning. And I hold a monthly book club in my Discord, which anybody can get into. It is a 21 plus Discord, though, because we read on white supremacy, patriarchy, racism, ableism, all these topics that have extreme amounts of violence and sexual exploitation in them. So to make sure it's appropriate and people can handle the conversations, 21 plus Discord. We have book club, as Q said, once a month because he got it finally. Good job, Q.
Once a month, guys.
Once a month. And we vote on the books that we read together. So it's not just me selecting books. People can make suggestions and we vote on the books every month. And so, yeah, that's me.
Oh, wait, and she's giving out a signed copy of a book. I just don't remember what it is.
Why Women Have Better Sex Under Socialism.
Under socialism, yes.
But this is not going to be out this is going to be out past that day. So that's not going to be the book that's going to probably be given out.
If you want to know who won that giveaway, just go to Ari's socials and you'll know, and then you'll know to participate the next time. End of a Species is moving. What I mean by that is, between me and all the people that have helped me, we've amassed a good following on an app called TikTok. I don't know if you've heard of it. It is trash. I could say that here because I'm not on there right now. If you want to hear more conversations like this, if you want to expand your knowledge base, go to endofaspecies.com. Either get yourself a hand on the Logic, the Field Guide, or any other debate reference library items that we have up. And in addition, go to the support link on the website and read about what's coming next. I will be updating that page to tell you the progress of the End of a Species transition to other platforms. On that note, thank you both for joining me for this conversation. I had a lot of fun. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and I'll see y'all next time.